Does the realtor you pick when you're selling or buying a home really matter? It's no secret that there are so many real estate agents right now in the Greater Toronto area. Every person knows one. Everyone has a friend that's an agent. Everyone has a family member that's an agent. It just seems that way. But when it comes to selecting an agent and when it comes to selecting a realtor to represent you, who should you pick? And should you pick someone with experience or should you just pick your cousin because they're your cousin? Here's a live example of a listing that I was in. Let's call it competition. I wasn't really in competition for the listing. It was a seller that I was speaking with for a couple of years, and we were getting the house ready to sell. And then at the 11th hour, the seller brought in someone else, and it turned out that it was a friend of one of their kids, and that agent ended up listing the home. So let's look at this example and let's see what the numbers were. When I met with the sellers over the course of a couple of years, the market had been declining. So initially, when they had contacted me, they had asked me for an evaluation of the home, which I gave to them. And back at that point in time, it was about 1.3 that they could have got for the home, but they weren't ready. They took their time and they said, we'll contact you when we're ready. So a couple of years passed, and then uh, uh, kept in touch with the seller, and then they said, you know what, we're ready. Let's meet, let's chat, let's figure out like pricing of the home and the process. So met with the sellers and very quickly came up with the price because know that particular market very, very well and those homes that sell there. And I said, your home, we should list it at 1.150 because that's what the recent comparables show us with the size of your home, with the lot size of your home. This is the correct price to list the home at. So the seller said, okay, thank you. We're going to take a little bit to kind of figure things out and we'll be back in touch. So followed up with the seller and, they just said, we need some more time. We're going to sell probably now our timeline has changed. We're going to sell by the end of the year. So no problem. Just carried on with my, daily routine. Then one day I was checking the new listings and saw that their house came up for sale. So I was a little bit surprised because their timeline had changed. So at least that's what they had told me. So the home was listed for 1,099,000, which was a fair bit off of what I had suggested to them, and I thought that was a fair price for their home at the 1.150. But the listing came out at 1,099,000. When I took a look at the agent, I saw that it was a friend of one of their kids and with very little experience. So, that was their decision. But let's see how it played out. So they immediately got an offer on the home within 3 days, and the home sold for 1,075,000. So that was a very quick sale in a market where it's a buyer's market, and at the time of recording this video, it's a buyer's market. So that's a very fast sale for a buyer's market within this particular pocket of homes with the lots and the age of the homes. It's a very quick sale. So when you have a quick sale in a buyer's market like this, you know that it was a result of the pricing. The pricing was so good that a buyer could not resist it. And let's look at the differential. So the projected sale price that I forecasted for them, if they had listed at 1.150, so 1,150,000, was a sale price of 1,110,000 to 1,120,000. However, the home ended up selling for 1,075,000. So when we take a look at the differential there, if we subtract the low end of the projected sale price, 1.110 minus 1,070,000, that gives us 35,000. If we take the high end of the projected sale price at 1.120, and if we subtract that by their actual sale price, 1,075,000, that gives us 45,000. So you have a differential of between 35,000 to 45,000 based on two evaluations given by two agents, one with experience, myself, a lot of experience, and one agent with not a lot of experience. So this is a net result of what happens when people use agents that don't have a lot of experience, don't have confidence in the market, and don't know the market. You actually end up losing money that you could have gained with the sale of the home. And this is just a sale. We're not talking about actual purchases. That's a whole different video series. But this is an actual sale. So when you have an agent with experience that understands the market, that understands the property types, that understands the demand at that particular time in the market, that agent with experience knows how to price it in order to have the highest possible sale price. Versus if you have an agent with not a lot of experience, doesn't know the market, doesn't have confidence in the market, and doesn't know how to navigate a slower market, you're going to have a list price in this case, which was lower than what it should have been. And the end result was that the seller lost between 35,000 to 45,000, and that was from picking the wrong agent. In their case, maybe it was the right agent because it was a friend of their kids. However, was it the wrong agent? Was it the right agent? What really is the result of this is that the agent matters. The experience of the agent matters. Picking the right agent matters because when you pick the right agent with the correct amount of experience, you're able to make more money on your sale. Not only that, we're just talking about money made with the sale. There are so many other variables that come into play with regards to navigating the sale of a home or navigating the purchase of a home when things go wrong, when things go sideways, when deals fall apart, when sellers don't remedy things that they were supposed to do. There's so many things that can go wrong with the purchase and sale of real estate that you really should have an experienced agent working for you that knows how to navigate these issues. And same with a real estate lawyer. Having an experienced agent and an experienced real estate lawyer really saves you a lot of grief when things go sideways. So here you have it. Here is a recent case study. Here's a real case study of how the agent matters and in how picking the agent matters. Because if you pick the right agent with the right amount of experience, they can net you more money in your pocket at the end of the day. And here's a case where these sellers went with an inexperienced agent, maybe because they felt that they had to, maybe because for whatever reason they went with this other agent, and they lost out on about 35,000 to 45,000. So there you have it. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.